Hello, this is Kevin from CCG BI. Today I will demonstrate how to leverage multiple data sources with SAP Lumira in a couple of different ways. In this exercise, we're going to be covering quite a few topics. So we're going to be creating a new document using an Excel file, adding a new data source for product subcategories. Then we're going to merge those two files together for like a lookup. Then we're going to create a time hierarchy using the order date. And then to summarize the data, we're going to go ahead and create a Crosstab, and then we're going to export that to Excel, import it back in as a data source, and then link that summary data by year, quarter, and month. Then we're going to add visualizations to compare detailed data to the summarized data. When that's complete, we're going to create a story and then do some more tweaking to the visualizations that we add to the page. Let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to create a Lumira document. For this, we will be using SAP Lumira desktop version for creating the document. So we'll go to File, New, and then we'll use Excel as a data source. I'm going to go ahead and browse to that location. I'm going to use the sales detail file. And as you can see, it gives me a little preview of the data. I can deselect columns if I want to, use the first row as column headers, etc. Very similar to an Excel interface. So we'll create that, and it's going to import those rows, and it's going to jump to the visualization page, but we're not quite ready to create a visualization. So we're going to go back to the prepare screen. So as you see here, there's more detail about the data. You can see where data has been automatically organized into measures and dimensions. Usually that's based on numeric properties. And there's some dates, etc. So now we're going to add a new data source for our product subcategories. So we'll go up to Data and then click Add New Data Set. Again, we're going to pick Excel, and we're going to pick this time the subcategory model name file. And you can see the values there. We'll go ahead and create that, and then that brings in another data source. And then we're going to go ahead and merge that sales detail and product subcategory. This is kind of the useful way to make a lookup table within your data set. So we'll go up to change this to our detail level. Again, that's going to be our left side of the left outer join. So we're going to hit merge, and then we're going to, there's our options there. We can go ahead and hit the suggestion, and it gives us an idea that the product model name is probably our best bet. So we'll go ahead and merge that. And then as you can see, now product subcategory has been added to the sales detail data set. So a really cool feature within Lumira is the ability to create a date and time hierarchy automatically. So if I go up to order date, and then if I click the settings icon, it gives me the option to create a date time hierarchy. And it's going to do is create 4 new columns in the data set for year, quarter, month, and day. So that gives me a nice little capability to merge to a more summarized detail set when we create that data. So this moves us on to our use case. So I want to be able to compare this detailed data to a more summarized set of the data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Crosstab to export this summarized data so we can bring it back in. And this summarized data is going to include year, quarter, month, the country name, the state name, and the total sales amount. So to do this, we're going to move over to the Visualize area of the tool, and then we will add a Crosstab, or create that, use it as a Crosstab. And then we're going to add the measure total sales amount. Now we need to add some rows. So let's go ahead and do simply, we'll add the time order date, that hierarchy. And if we just change that setting to be month, it's going to add all of the columns down to that level. Let's go ahead and add country name and state name. I think that's what we need. So the next step will be to export that summarized data to Excel. So let's go ahead and go down to the little settings icon and hit Export Records. Alright, we're going to change this to Excel format. And we're going to export it, and we're going to go ahead and rename this file to Sales Summary Export. And click Save. Now that that's been exported, I want to go ahead and re-import that sales summary as a data source for this. So if we go up to Data, Add New Data Set, use Excel, and we go ahead and browse to our sales summary export file, open that. See what that looks like. Now I want to go ahead and rename the data set just for easier use, and we'll call it Sales Summary. Alright, we have a new data set. Now if I jump over to the Prepare room, I can see the Sales Summary data set has been added. All the attributes that we were expecting, which is good. Now we want to link these data sets. So I want to link the detail to the summary data by year, quarter, and month. And usually we want our detail on the left side. So if we go back to Visualize, we'll go to Data, Link Data Sets. And this brings up the wizard. It shows me what columns are available. In this case, I'm going to pick year, and then I'm going to use a little suggestion icon there, which is going to tell me the best match is year, which is great. And then I'll go over to the left and pick quarter and do it again. It's going to suggest quarter on the other side. And then finally I'll pick month and do it one more time. I could select these manually also, but it's nice that it does give you a suggestion. And we'll click OK. Now before we take full advantage of this merging, I'm going to want to do one more thing. I'm going to create a custom product hierarchy within the detailed data set. So if I go up to the sales summary and select sales detail, I can see my measures there. I'm going to pick product subcategory and create a custom hierarchy. This allows me to create a drilling path. Alright, so for the first one, I'm going to call this product hierarchy, and I will select product subcategory and then product model name. Create. So now you can see the product hierarchy has been created. Now I just want to do a little housekeeping. In my sales detail area, we have an object called total sales amount. It's called total sales amount in both data sets. So I just want to differentiate between the detail and the summary. So I'm going to rename that total sales amount in sales detail. I'm going to just call it sales amount. And then click OK. And then it's called now sales amount. Then if I switch over to the sales summary, you can still see that it's called total sales amount. So it kind of gives us a differentiation. Well, now it's time to take advantage of our blended data, our detail and summarized data. So we're going to add a visualization and we'll do some comparisons. So let's do that. We'll go ahead and we're in our visualize area. Let's add a new visualization. And I'm going to select for this, I'm going to select the combined column line chart. So right now we're in our sales detail data source. So I'm going to select for this the time order date, and then I'm going to go ahead and customize that so all the way down to the month level. Alright, so you need a measure, so I'll pick from the sales amount from the detail. Then I'm going to go up and change the data source to sales summary and add the total sales amount. And since they're linked by time, they should line right up. And right now they're going to be equal because we don't have any filters on either side. So what I want to do next is go ahead and create a geographical hierarchy for geographical visualizations. Now For this, I'm going to go ahead and back to the sales detail. And then I'm going to go down to country name and then do create a geographic hierarchy. We're going to do it by name. I don't have the Latin long, so we're going to just use a country name and the state name for this. So country name and state name, then click confirm. And as you can see, since I don't have the Latin longs, there's quite a few that aren't resolved and can't be resolved. And then there's some that are unsolved. And it will give me some suggestions on those. And then we'll go ahead and pick those suggestions. As I say, it's a lot cleaner if you do have Latin longs, but this just gives you an overview of some of the capabilities if there's common names available. Well, since we have geographical hierarchies, of course we need to add a GeoChart visualization, right? So for this, we're going to add a new visualization, and I'm going to go and pick under the maps there, I'm going to pick GeoChart chart. Very simply, for the geography, I will pick our hierarchy, which will default to country, and then I'll pick sales amount. And if you remember earlier, we did create that custom product hierarchy, so we need to create a donut chart that'll display our product hierarchy. So let's go ahead and add another visualization. In this case, I'm under the pie types, I'm going to select donut chart. For our color, we will select the product hierarchy and then sales amount. It's just a nice little donut chart. Well, now it's time to highlight some more of our blending. So I want to go ahead and add a crosstab that will show our country sales compared to the total sales globally. So we'll go ahead and create that crosstab, and then under measures, for detail, we're going to pick the sales amount, and for a row, we're going to pick country name. Then I'm going to go up to the data source and select the summary, sales summary. And you can see now I can add total sales amount. So I can see how they compare. I can see how the country versus the total. So now I want to go ahead and add a custom calculation, which is going to do me a percent of. So we're going to call this sales percent. Very simply, we're going to do sales amount from our detail, and be divided by, and then go up and select the summary data source 2, as you can see there, and then we're going to divide it by total sales amount. So that will give us a percentage, but it's not going to be a percentage format, so we want to change that too. So we'll go down to the settings, and we'll make our display format as percentage. And you can see it worked. Now I don't need the total sales amount anymore to be displayed, so I can just remove that from the table. So I like this visualization so much, I want to duplicate it and then remove country so I have a summary level comparison. So duplicate it. Now we've got sales amount at 100%. There's no filters. So now let's go ahead and create a story. In order to do this, we'll go to the compose room of the tool, and we'll give this a name of global sales analysis, and then we'll create that. And this will give us a nice blank slate, and then we can add these visualizations we've created to our canvas. So initially I'm going to add the combo line chart we have, and then we'll add the summarized sales amount crosstab that we created earlier. Let me resize this a little bit so we have plenty of space. go ahead and add the amounts by country. Again, I need to resize this so it fits properly. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and add our geographical visualization. Get that about the right size. Looks good. And then finally we will add the donut chart we created. So now that we've created our story, let's go ahead and preview it and start interacting with it. So if I go up to preview, you'll see the view changes a little bit. And one of the first things I want to do is I want to make this fit to page, just so we can all see all the elements at once. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select on that product and then click filter. And we're just going to select that, and as you can see now the sales percent dropped. You can see over time that it's become less and less a percentage of the total sales amount. And you can expand that chart and you can see it even a little clearer. We cancel that. I'm going to go ahead and let's remove that filter. Now to kind of show how that product hierarchy works, let's select the road bikes again, and this time we'll hit drill down. So this gives you the individual product model names that are within that category. Everything filters the same because you're down to the same product subcategory. And you can see all the percentages changed and exactly the same thing within the line chart. Let's undo that. And let's filter on just Australia. So you can use your components as input controls for other chart elements, which is kind of a cool thing. I'm going to go ahead and remove that filter. Alright, so one more thing I want to do is leave preview mode for just a moment. And I want to examine the sales amount. As you notice, it is not a currency format, it's only decimal format. So what I want to do is change that. I want to change the display format. So we go back to the visualize and pick the sales amount measure, and we change that display formatting. And I'm going to add a prefix of just a $sign. And then we'll click OK there. And you can see now we have a $sign in front of sales amount. And if I go back to the compose room, you'll see that carried through to each of the sales amount that are displayed on there. So that will conclude what I have to demonstrate for leveraging multiple data sources within SAP Lumira. But if you have more questions, you can contact us at info@ccgbi, whether it be about SAP Lumira or any of the myriad of BI tools that we utilize and support within our organization.